The Good Guy Badges is back again, and today we're talking Gears 3 again, but we're talking Horde 2.0. I think there's the most changes to Horde mode of probably all the modes, especially versus minus TDM and stuff like that, adding a few new weapons. Horde mode seems to be almost an entirely new game all on its own. As we all know, the Gears 2 and Horde mode, the original, kind of started that trend of survival-esque type of modes in a lot of games. Obviously, Halo has Firefight. Modern Warfare 2 had Spec Ops, and now Modern Warfare 3 is getting overhauled Spec Ops mode. So I think that's pretty fair to say that Gears did it first. In this generation, of course, there's comparisons that could go all the way back to arcade games from many, many years ago about them just being survival games. But as far as the new games and the way it's being done right now, Horde kind of set the tone, but it's getting totally revamped, as most of you probably know. You earn money for your performance now. So you're in a group, you earn some money, and you use that money from your individual performance to buy items. Simple items like upgraded guns, maybe even some frag grenades, replenish of ammo, and then big items like barricades, fences. At some point you can buy some that silverback mech that they talk about, which is kind of like what it sounds like. It's a big mech warrior that you get inside and can kind of beast all over the place with that thing. What I did think was interesting is specifically about the silverback mech is I guess it can kind of hunker down, and when you're inside of it you can get kind of hunkered down and become a rocket turret, but then you can't move, so that's the trade-off. You're kind of a sitting duck, but it's perfectly set up to where your teammates can hunker down and take cover over your knees, I guess is what they would be, kind of like where the silverback mech's knees would be. That to me is going to be a big deal. I think if you can buy fences and kind of corner the enemies off into approaching you from only one angle, and getting a mech during those 10th waves when you're really taking on the big guys, that will be an enormous favor for you to have, an advantage for your team to have. The bad news is it's going to cost around, I think it was 1,200 points or $1,200 or whatever money system is in the game. And I think from what I gathered, the credits add up pretty much like they do in normal Horde mode. As you see there with that boomer, that's 141 points. Maybe give or take a little bit. In the new game, that's pretty close to what you're going to be receiving. So to save up 1,200 points or dollars is going to be quite substantial, and might require help from friends, which lets us talk about teamwork. With all this fortification and bringing in elements of RTS, it's going to be much more essential to have a fun experience if there's teamwork. I think that when you've got everybody spending their own money in their own ways, that might not always add up to a successful scenario. So I think it's going to be even more important this go round with Gears to really hit up with friends and people you really can communicate with. You can share money. So for example, if 2 or 3 of you guys say, look, let's get that silverback mech, you get inside of it, Johnny or whoever, and we'll just ride on the sides and kind of take cover behind you when you go into rocket mode. That is probably going to be what most people will find themselves doing. I'm most excited about the fences. I know they're simple, some barriers, just something that takes the place of that kind of placement of the shield from Gears 2, where you kind of knock the shield in a place where you want it to be and keep it there as kind of a improv gate of some sort. It just will feel like a little less overwhelming when you can put up some really nice laser fences on even one wall or even one angle, and kind of not have to worry so much about that. That is definitely what I'm looking forward to the most. I do think that Horde 2.0 will be another superhuman fan favorite. I mean, everybody loved Horde when Gears 2 dropped, especially due to the fact that versus mode was in shambles at the time. So I think that you'll see Horde 2.0 be a very worthy time waster, even though most people, myself included, will be spending the lion's share of time on versus mode. But I don't know, whatever you guys think. If you're upset about the changes, or maybe if you like them, or if you're worried that it's going to become, a bit too intense, or maybe too easy now that we've got all these other tools. Um, I understand almost every angle at this point. They didn't show a lot of upfront Horde mode videos at E3. I know there was a lot of people having hands-on, which is all good, and every response I've heard has been fairly positive, but I would have liked to see it kind of prominent, center stage, because it's such a big mode for them. You would think that that would be their goal. But I think it's definitely the area of the game that's getting the biggest overhaul. Obviously, there's a new story and campaign, but it's probably going to be standard Gears formula, like we like. And then, of course, versus mode we've already talked about. If you played the beta, you should know what's coming your way. Thanks, guys. I hope you enjoyed. We'll finish out this little Horde mode here, and I'll have another video coming talking about the changes to campaign very shortly.
Let's do this!